On Wednesday night, Venezuela suffered its worst earthquake since the year 1900. At least 920 people are known to have died, but some estimates fear the final death toll could be closer to 10,000. Two back-to-back quakes hit the country less than 1 minute apart. So what happens now? What will it mean for the country's future? And why is Venezuela particularly vulnerable to such an event? Our correspondent Will Grant reports from Venezuela.
The search and rescue effort has basically begun from the moment these earthquakes struck. From the very start, teams were out trying to pull people from the rubble, and unfortunately it has turned it into a task of also pulling bodies from the collapsed buildings. In the main part, that work is concentrated in these neighborhoods of Altamira and Los Palos Grandes here in Caracas. But the main scene is down on the coast, a place called La Guaira, where as many as 100 buildings have collapsed. People have been working through the night, every single night, trying to find missing loved ones. It is a very, very harrowing task, and we do not know at this stage how many of those expected 50,000 missing people will become part of the final death toll. And we don't know, indeed, when we'll get a final figure for the number of dead. I used to live here in Caracas, on this very corner, in fact, and my colleague Vanessa Silva still does. She's Venezuelan and was in her home when the earthquake struck.
We as a journalists are struggling with difficult moments in this country. Even our team was hit. I mean, our cameraman Ronnie Zamora doing this video just starts crying because he lost a friend in the Vargas state. When you have a moment to sit and realize what is going on is when all your emotions came. It's not been easy. It's not been easy for us as a journalist. It's not been easy for us as a Venezuelan society because we have struggling with a country that faces many complications along this year, and especially now when we thought that the economy will improve. Now the people wanting to come back, the relatives wanted to come to visit and invest again in the country. Now this earthquake occurred, and now people is again losing friends, losing families, losing opportunities of recuperation.
Crews have been coming in from around the world, particularly those places that have great expertise in search and rescue. That includes Mexico, of course, who have famed the world over for it. The Brazilians were on the plane when we flew in earlier today. There have been teams sent from the UK, from the United States. There have been medical teams sent from Cuba, and aid from a whole range of nations and partners, including Spain. The United States has promised relief effort of $150 million, and that's just to begin with the Trump administration promising more prolonged and sustained support to the government of Venezuela, which it now considers an ally. The wider impact of this moment could go on for years. There are many, many homes in this nation that are going to be completely uninhabitable and will need to be pulled down. That's just to talk about the accommodation side of things, which is huge. Of course, the loss of life is the first thing. The collective pain on Venezuelans of losing so many people. Again, we don't know how many people that will be yet, but it looks like it will be a very high number. That's so many, potentially thousands of families who've lost a loved one or more. That's so many people who know a family who've been affected. That's people who've lost their businesses, their livelihoods, and their homes. The picture, when taken together, is very, very bleak at this moment. This moment hasn't happened in a vacuum. It's happened in a year where the tensions between the United States and Venezuela reached their nadir in January of this year, when the United States launched airstrikes on this city, when they removed the sitting president in his pajamas, Nicolas Maduro, at gunpoint. At that point, it feels like there has been an improvement, a constant improvement in relations with his replacement. That's the interim president, Delcy Rodriguez. It is strange to see that relationship bloom and blossom, considering that this government, the Bolivarian revolution that she has been such a key part of for so many years, is predicated on opposition to Washington. And here it is essentially doing Washington's bidding. In this moment, around this earthquake, it was very striking that interim President Rodriguez singled out the United States first as the nation coming to its aid. The numbers speak for themselves, 50,000 missing people. The fact that there hasn't been an event this powerful since 1900. There have been already hundreds of deaths, thousands of injuries, and many people remain in a life-threatening situation. This is a very, very difficult period for Venezuela. It's hard to know when there can be any sort of rebuild, when it's right in this moment, when the concentration now is on still finding missing loved ones, still finding survivors, but with each hour that passes, the hopes begin to dwindle. But why is Venezuela particularly vulnerable to earthquakes?
This is because it lies close to the boundary of two tectonic plates. The upper section of the Earth is split into different sections. These are the plates. In this part of the world, we have the Caribbean plate and the South American plate trying to slide past each other. Sometimes parts of the plate get stuck and energy builds up. When they eventually start moving again, huge amounts of energy get released. This makes Venezuela prone to earthquakes. In this case, we had two events of similar size less than a minute apart. This is called a doublet sequence. Scientists have said they were 7.2 and 7.5 in magnitude. The scale is logarithmic, which means each number is 10 times bigger than the last. So this is very big. The earthquake in Myanmar last year was 7.7, and that led to the deaths of up to 5,300 people. But these events in Venezuela were also very shallow, less than 13 miles below the surface. The closer to the ground the earthquake is, the more shaking we get and potential damage.
What next is a very tricky question to answer. What we know is what's happening now, and that is a sustained effort by the government with support from its international partners to try to reach the missing survivors. As things move forward and as that situation gets bleaker and bleaker, this will move to a recovery operation to bring out the dead. And from there will have to be questions asked about bringing those homes up to building code that might be salvageable and simply pulling down those that can't be.